Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda Carlson, and I'm the Marketing Coordinator here at Advisicon, and I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar. Here at Advisicon, we're a group of authors, teachers, consultants, and technologists offering training in Microsoft technologies, project management, and methodology. With attending any of our training sessions, we offer PDUs as we are a registered education provider with the Project Management Institute. At the close of today's session, I will give some instructions on how to claim your PDUs and how to get in contact with Advisicon for any questions you may have. And before we get started, I'd like to go over a few things so you know to participate in today's event. Please review the control panel that should be on the top right of your screen. The audience is muted during our session, so in order to ask questions, you will need to submit them into that question window of the control panel. This webinar will be recorded and uploaded to the Advisicon YouTube channel for those who could not attend today's session live. Please note that any questions or comments submitted will not just be displayed, nor will the recording or any of your personal information be shared. And it's now my pleasure to introduce today's instructor, Maria Fenn, one of Advisicon's amazing project advisors. And without further ado, I'll hand this presentation over and we can get started.
Thank you, Amanda. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking part of this webinar with me. As Amanda mentioned, I am a project advisor here at Advisicon, an experienced trainer, a Visio expert, and OneNote expert. Now, today, we are going to be going over the following topics. To begin, I will go through the tools I use every day as a project manager with OneNote for Windows 10. Then I will be following up with going through the differences between OneNote for Windows 10 and OneNote 2016. The reason I'm covering this specifically today is because OneNote for Windows 10 has tools OneNote 2016 does not, and vice versa. Finally, at the end, I will be demoing OneNote for Windows 10 with a little bit of 2016 to demonstrate how to best utilize the tools in OneNote as a project manager. To get started, I'd like to list some of my favorite tools that are beneficial for project managers in OneNote for Windows 10. To begin, I'd like to mention the checklist feature. OneNote has an easy-to-use checklist tag. It also allows you to easily mark important places in your notes and questions using other tags available, and I will be demonstrating this in the demo later on. OneNote also has quite a bit of flexibility with taking notes. I highly recommend, for one, downloading the OneNote app for your phone. It gives project managers quick access to take notes and allows you to store everything in one place. Thirdly, OneNote also gives project managers the ability to annotate PDF files and store them on your OneNote page. Again, this makes it simple to keep all of your notes stored in one location, preventing loss of anything. For those of you who are like me as well and need to write things down to remember things, OneNote gives project managers the ability to hand write your notes or even draw. You can use a stylus, your finger, or even a mouse for quick notes or even drawings to demonstrate maybe an idea. Now, moving on to features that are only in OneNote for 2016. I'd like to mention a huge difference between OneNote 2016 and OneNote for Windows 10. OneNote for 2016 is no longer receiving updates. OneNote for Windows 10 is now receiving regular updates for new features and is constantly being updated. This being said, the tools have been set up so that you can use them in parallel. So if you wanted to use tools in OneNote 2016, that are not available in OneNote for Windows 10, you can easily do that and then switch over to OneNote for Windows 10 and have that and use those available features. It is really easy to switch from one to the other. Other than that, there are also 4 other things that are only available in OneNote for 2016. Only OneNote for 2016 can create Outlook tasks in the notebook. And also, there's only in OneNote for 2016 is there a quick access toolbar. So in the upper left-hand corner of OneNote for 2016, you'll see the quick access toolbar that you could, if you want to, add custom quick access tools. But OneNote for Windows 10 does not have that available, and I'll show you that as we go later on. OneNote for 2016 also has templates available to be set as defaults in your notebooks. Whereas OneNote for Windows 10, you can change the page color, you can add lines or a grid to the background, but it doesn't have these templates available. And finally, linked to the internet. Only OneNote for 2016 can actually link your notes to different websites. Moving on to features only on OneNote for Windows 10, there are a lot of different features that are only available on OneNote for Windows 10. So here I actually cherry-picked a few of my personal favorites. The first of my favorite, and it's probably the most important to me, is the flexibility between devices, which I did talk a little bit earlier. OneNote for Windows 10 is easily accessible now both on Windows 10, obviously, iOS, Android, Mac, and the web. And it's also extremely versatile between devices, which I will be demonstrating a little bit later on. Second is the visibility. I personally appreciate this increase in visibility because if you're collaborating on a page with your coworker, now you can simply jump to where they are editing, which can be a huge help when needing to put together notes to use with each other. Thirdly is the replay handwriting feature. Microsoft has added a replay handwriting feature to OneNote, and what it does is every time you handwrite notes or draw anything with your finger or stylus, OneNote is recording what you're doing. This allows you to replay what you wrote, and if you want to display each segment one by one, you can using that replay function. Fourth, we have the researcher. Microsoft has added a feature that makes searching for information much easier while writing notes at the same time. Sometimes you're in a business meeting and you have a quick question or you need a certain bit of information, and going all the way to Google, though, is extremely easy using Alt-Tab. It's even easier using the research button in the tab of OneNote. It's a simple thing, but it adds a lot of convenience. Fifth, we have the notification center, which I'm going to point that out in the demo later on. OneNote is now allowing us to see the changes being made if we were collaborating on a notebook. So if my friend Amanda here was adding notes to a workbook I had shared with her, I would see notifications that she was making changes in this specific center, and I would be alerted of those changes. And lastly, we have the Ink Math Assistant. This makes writing out equations extremely easy and convenient. I don't know if you've struggled like I have sometimes doing equations on Word, but Ink Math Assistant allows you to draw out the equation, again, just with your stylus or finger or mouse. You would circle it using the lasso icon, and then hit the math icon that would then try and interpret your equation, and then, depending on if there are any fixes or not, then you could simply copy it over to a Word document if you needed it, or just keep it in your notes. So moving on to the demo, just bear with me, I will bring up my OneNotes file. If you can see, look here, this is OneNote for Windows 10. As you can see, it has a lot cleaner feel, it's lighter, and personally, I'm a fan of vibrant colors, so I think this is really fun. So if you go through each tab, you'll see it's just a light version of options that are available. Each one has really all you need, but it just seems less like there's less there, but you really don't need any more than this. It's a lot leaner than OneNote for 2016, which I'm going to pull up over here. If we look here at OneNote for 2016, I'll pull, whoops, there we go. Pull down home, there's a lot, it's a little fuller. It's not as spread out, but it is a little fuller. And as you can see, you can add the Outlook tasks here as mentioned earlier. Go to insert, they have a lot more icons, and personally, I like the lighter feel for OneNote for Windows 10. we'll just comb through here a little bit. And as if you look up in the right-hand corner, you'll notice here's the customized quick access toolbar. That is only here, because if I pull up OneNote for Windows 10, you'll notice there is no icon anymore, just the back or the forward button. Now, going back to the Home tab up here in Windows for OneNote for Windows 10, I'd like to point out the checkbox tag. So if I had my list of notes here from watching my webinar, OneNote, you'll see I made a couple of notes here. For example, OneNote has the ability to replay handwriting. I think that's an important thing to know, but it's not really a to-do item. So see if I can download the OneNote app on my phone. That's a to-do item. So what I'm going to do is go up to the Home tab and then see this checkbox item over here. I can actually select this checkbox item and it'll help me see when there's something to do. So if you're going quickly through a meeting as a project manager and you don't have time to separate a checklist as you're quickly writing up notes, so what you can do is click that icon or the tag and it'll automatically put a checkbox by it. So then when you go back to your notes, you already know exactly what you have to do. And it's easy to clean up and just put together a checklist later on. Other tags that are available are the important tag, the question tag, and you can highlight for remember later or a definition. The email later is one I created myself, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a moment. So OneNote has the ability to replay handwriting. I'd say that's important, so I'm going to grab the important tag. Can I use OneNote for Windows 10 on my iOS? Yes, I can, but if I didn't know that yet and I wanted to ask, I could grab the question tag and it would easily point out when I have a question. So, if you're in a meeting in the end, they ask, do you have any questions? Instead of having to have a separate section with a list of your questions from that meeting, you can just go one by one throughout your whole notes list and see where you have questions. Now, if you are in a meeting and you just don't want to write, you actually have the ability to dictate in OneNote your notes. So again, up to the Home tab, go all the way down over here, you see this dictate option. As soon as I select this option and it starts, it's going to begin recording what I'm saying and putting it on my OneNote page, as you can see right here. And this provides the option that if maybe you're talking to a client and you want to keep track of what you're saying, obviously you're not recording them, you're just recording what you're saying and putting it down on notes. And that's it. Stop. Now, another available option is annotating a document. As you can see up here, annotating a document, this is actually a document file that I prepared ahead of time. So OneNote allows you, for one, to store documents here. OneNote for 2016 does do that as well. And it does have these icons, I will add. That's not just for OneNote for Windows 10. That is both OneNote for Windows 10 and 2016. Put that away for now. Bring this document over. So you can see this is one of the slides that we went through. If you wanted to, instead of writing notes separately on a note page, you could actually add notes directly onto the PDF using OneNote. So if I select this icon up here, it opens OneNote and now I have the ability to write whatever I want. So I could underline, I think this is important, or I could highlight text here. It's going to keep track. It's a little slow sometimes. Hold on. There we go. Yellow. I would like yellow. There we go. It'll highlight text that you see as important as well. Now you have two options for saving this. You can actually save the original and it'll save all of this content in it. Or you can select the Save As button, which is up here, and save a copy. So annotate, so we're going to go copy document. And I spelled that wrong, but that's okay. Save. I don't need it right now anyways. So if we go back to the original, it should be completely clean of notes, so you're not contaminating any direct document if that's how you see it. Or you can make changes to the original. For example, we'll take the pen, choose black, and write out original with really some poor handwriting, but that's okay. Press the save icon here, and when I close it and reopen it in OneNote, it comes up with any changes that I've made. Now, if you're in a scenario where, as a project manager, you need to jot down some quick notes, but you don't want to pull out your laptop for OneNote, you can add the app to your phone for OneNote for Windows 10. So I'm pulling out my phone right now, and I have the OneNote already put up. So I'm going to scroll down really quick. So you have the option, you can just use text. So watch this. So this is, if I spell is correctly, the text that's coming on right now is actually from my phone. Or if I just wanted to take handwritten notes, because again, I remember things better when I write them down versus when I type them out. I have the ability on my phone to write out my notes. You can see what's supposed to be OneNote, it's loading. There we go, OneNote for my, cut off my P there. But anyways, you get the point. You can actually add your notes in, and my handwriting's a little sloppy, but again, with a stylus, this would be also much cleaner. This gives me the opportunity to show you as well. If you go into the View tab, I mentioned earlier how you can replay your handwriting. So there's this icon here saying replay. And what you do is you drag the area you want replayed, and it'll replay what you wrote. So if you didn't want all of this to show at once, you could start from the beginning. Of course, I selected the wrong area, but that is available to you. Now, moving on to the researcher icon, or the researcher feature, which is so if you go into insert, say you are in a meeting and you just need to answer a quick question, but you don't want to get away too far from your notes because you don't want to miss anything. So if you're writing information and say you need something and say, I don't know, maybe a Yoda quote. I love Star Wars. It'll populate with different options. For example, here we have Star Wars, the 10 best Yoda quotes from Star Wars here. It shows me the document. Is this something I'd like? I can open it if I want to, or I can also add it to my page. If you'll see right here, it added the link and the name of the article to my page here. That way, if it had the information I wanted, if I didn't want to write notes, now I have the link and I can look at it later. So now just to compare a little bit with OneNote for 2016, since we've gone through all of this with OneNote 2000 for Windows 10, you can see it does have a lot of the available options that Windows 10 does still. You can see the writing here, you can see everything I did, the link is here as well. It's not going to be receiving any more updates, and it's also a little clunkier than the other one from my personal opinion. But you can do all of this and switch intermittently between the two, which depending on your needs might be even better. So going on to a little bit more, another beneficial thing about OneNote that's great for project managers is if you hit this meeting details icon or feature here, it'll pop up all of your Outlook meetings, and you can select that and it'll bring up the time of the meeting, an option for what to enter the participants of the meeting, any details of the meeting, which can be great for prepping ahead of time or even just prepping on the fly of a meeting. So Amanda, that is about what I have. Do we have any questions to answer?
Yeah, it looks like we do. And also, if you haven't had a chance to submit your question yet, now is the time. You just pop those in the questions panel. So our first one is asking about the best way to collaborate with a team using OneNote.
Right, thank you. That's such a fantastic question. So the best way to collaborate is is the option to share your notebook with for example, a coworker. So if you go to these icons up here, we have the share icon where you can, when it loads, there you go, you have two options. So if you wanted to share your notebook to collaborate, you could, I'm going to enter Amanda's name in here. You could enter their email. You can specify if they can edit or not. So if I just wanted Amanda to only see the notes I was making, I could turn this off, but I trust her, she can edit my notes. And also you can choose who can actually see your notes as well. So if people with existing access, people in your organization with the link, anyone with the link, and then you would apply and send. Another option, if you don't want to share your notes and you just want to, or you don't want to give them editing your notes or have them look at them in OneNote, you do have the option to send a copy. So you can press this button here and it'll provide you with several different methods of how you want to share it. For example, you could email it, the copy of your notes from those meetings. And then I'd just like to also point out the notification center. So the notification center is this icon right here. So if Amanda were to make changes in my notebook, any notifications would come up here and let me know. Amanda, are there any other questions?
Yes, thanks for that. I have one here. It says, can I open notebooks from multiple OneDrive accounts?
Well, although you can sign up for multiple OneDrive accounts, only one can be associated with your OneNote. So to open a notebook from another account, whether it's your own or someone else's account, make sure it's shared with your primary OneDrive account. So you'd have to use that share icon to share with between your own accounts. As soon as it has been shared, you could see the OneNote listed under files shared with you in your primary OneDrive account. So if you right click or tap and hold onto the notebook and select open in OneNote from that context menu, you can then open that specific notebook in OneNote. Does that answer that question, I hope?
Yeah, excellent. Another one here, it says, in addition to sharing my notebook, can I use features you showed in OneNote in Microsoft Teams?
You can open OneNote in Microsoft Teams. So I don't have anything to really demonstrate with that, but when you are in a chat with Microsoft Teams, you can look at the upper options when underneath the name of the person you're chatting with or underneath the group name, you'll see conversation, files, organization, activity, and then you add the plus sign and you can actually add OneNote online to that group, either group chat or one-on-one message, and then have those notes available to you for that specific conversation.
Yeah, that's great. And then I have another one that's kind of along those same lines of having your
Mm-hmm.
notes. It says, if I schedule a meeting in Outlook, can I take
Mm-hmm.
meeting minutes from that Outlook calendar event?
Um, the closest answer I have to that off the top of my head, I can email with definitely some follow-up, but off the top of my head, the best option here would be the meeting details. That'll pull up all of your upcoming meetings or meetings for that day specifically. And when you click on it, it'll add all of the information for that specific meeting and you can take notes on it. But I'll definitely follow up with an email on that one.
Great. So we just have time for a few more. We have one here. I think it's some version confusion because it says, how do you get your sections and pages to show on the left-hand side of your screen? By default, they appear at the top of my screen.
Oh, okay. So if you are seeing them on the top of your screen, you're most likely in OneNote for 2016. So as you can see, all of my pages or all of the tabs are up here and the pages are over here, which you can shift around. But I would just recommend switching to OneNote for Windows 10 and it organizes it for you. It out of the box looks like this.
Great. Yeah. And then another one here, going back to your recording your voice section. We have someone asking, can I record voice with OneNote for Windows 10?
Oh, yes, you can. So if you go to the Insert tab, you can actually record your audio. So if I click here, I am actually now currently recording my audio and it'll just keep going until you hit stop up on this left-hand side. So if I wanted to, I could replay all this. I'm not going to because that'd be redundant.
Great. And then I see all of your questions coming in, and we will definitely get to those. After this webinar, we'll email you directly if we didn't have time to answer those questions. And I also just want to point out that Advisicon does have a YouTube channel with past webinars, and that does contain other OneNote related webinars. So it's likely if you have more questions on this topic that might be featured in one of our past webinars. So that's just, you can type it in as youtube.com/Advisicon or just go to your YouTube page and type in Advisicon. You'll find us first thing. So we'll just take this last question before we finish up. I think,
Oh, okay.
again, with a little bit of the version confusion, it says,
Mhm.
my OneNote doesn't look like either of the versions that Maria shared. Where can I find my version information?
Okay, so if you don't see, if you're not seeing any of this, my recommendation would be to, let me pull up the 2016, is you're very likely able to hit File and be able to go to your account. And when you go to your account, it should provide your information of what OneNote version you're using. And it should be noted that it is possible, um, if you are on Windows 7, that these may not, that you might want to upgrade to Windows 10 in order to access OneNote for Windows 10 desktop. You can use it online though easily.
Great. Thank you so much, Maria. And thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. We welcome your questions and feedback, and for more information, you can email us at contact@advisicon.com. Once you exit today's webinar, you will receive a survey on the presentation. You will need to complete and submit that survey in order to receive your PDUs. And from there, you will receive a follow-up email within 2 business days with your PDU information. If you're watching this recording on YouTube or another social media platform, please be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future webinar uploads. On behalf of Advisicon, Maria, and myself, we thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you participate in our future webinars. Have a great day, everyone.